Here with Ravis Fab Works. I'm in the shop doing a quick update video. I've been busy working and haven't had much time to get in the shop. I got into the shop this weekend and did some tinkering on a quad bike that Travis gave me. And I'll show you some things that I did to that. So, jump right into it. Mini 110cc Chinese quad that Travis gave me. I was going to tear it apart and use the suspension parts for a go-kart build, but I got the motor running and I kind of want to fix it up for my kids to ride around. So I got it running yesterday. I didn't get any video of it. I was too in depth with the project. Here's the wiring all tied up and everything nicely. I didn't get any video of that either. I spent like 4 hours rewiring the damn thing. I had to use several parts off from 150cc, like this cover and the stator, the starter solenoid, the starter, the voltage regulator, and the CDI. The key ignition didn't work, so I eliminated that. It still starts and stops with the button and the kill switch. The battery's dead right now, so I can't show you that. I gotta charge it up. But just wanted to go over some of the things that I checked when excuse me, I'm trying to find a screwdriver. While I was working on it, make sure that it ran. There we go. Alright, so this cover, I'm going to go over a quick overview of checking the timing on these things, because I thought the timing was off, so I checked the timing on it. So, to check the timing on this thing, it's actually pretty simple. So you got these two ports right here. There's these little plugs. There's one here, and then there's a little one that goes up on the top that looks the same. You got to take those out. And inside there, you got the end of your crank, the 14mm or 9/16, whichever you prefer to use. You put that on there. You put your ratchet on there. You gotta go counterclockwise, so lefty-loosey. The ratchet's being stubborn. Set that there for a minute. Okay. Alright, sorry. So, you do that, you turn this, and in that top port, if you look down in there, you keep turning it slowly, you're going to start seeing these lines. Alright, these first two lines right here, you don't need. Those first two lines are not the lines that you need. You need to keep turning until that line, oh, nope, that line, until you see the T at the top. I don't know if you can see very well. There it is. There's the T at the top. That's your top dead center. So, then you need to take a 10mm wrench, come over to this side, just pull that off. And this 10mm bolt right next to the spark plug. Go ahead. You don't have to take it all the way out. And then this little side cover comes off. It was right there and it comes off. It's just got that one bolt in there. Now, with that crank at top dead center. And you can take the spark plug out and stick something in there to make sure, which I did. And you got this dot over here. It says JD, and it should be right over in this position over here, and that's correct timing. Now, I didn't have to mess with the timing on this motor, so I'm not going to get into how to do the timing on it. I'm sure there's a million videos on how to do it. I was just giving you a quick video on how to check the timing, and that's how you check the timing on that. If you want to check your valve lash, there's this port up here. It's a 17 millimeter. Obviously, this side is your intake valve. The other side is your exhaust valve, which is down here. Right there. You can take that one off. And your valve is right inside there. You can take your feeler gauge and loosen up this nut and get your feeler gauge underneath there. Now, from what I was told, it's supposed to be 0.25 or 0.025 on the valve lash. I didn't really put any feeler gauges on it, but the valves don't feel loose. They feel nice. So I'm gonna leave them as they are. If I have any problems, then I'll readjust the valves. But they felt good, so I'm gonna leave them alone. Make sure you don't lose your grommet, your rubber grommet there. That way it keeps the oil inside the motor. And just put that back on there. And that's how you check the timing, and you can check the valves on these motors. These motors are actually very, very simple. I've never messed with one of these little Chinese motors before, but I gotta say I'm not entirely unhappy with it because it's really easy to work on. On the inside of this cover is going to be your stator. I got the old one, the old cover, and the old stator right here. There's your stator and your pickup. That one was no good, and since the cover and the stator and everything from the 150 fit in here, I just swapped the whole cover and everything over. Plus it had a cap on it too, so I was missing one on the other one. But the starter motor is the same on the 150. Now both the motors are from a taotao Chinese brand bike or quad, so that's why all the parts swapped over. I reused this. I used this starter because the other one was burnt out. I mean, if you took the spark plug out and jumped it, it would free spin no problem. But as soon as there was compression, the old motor didn't have enough behind it to turn the motor over. So I had to swap over to this starter motor. I had to switch over to this starter solenoid. The other one was not working properly. This voltage regulator is from the 150 motor. I don't know if I had to switch that over, but considering all the other electronics were fried, I snagged that too. So that's for running lights and charging the battery off the stator. And here's the CDI I had to steal from the 150. Same thing, plug direct in from the 110. The little fuse that they had in there before, I didn't have any of that type, so I kind of just rigged this one up. Just a 10 amp fuse for the charging system. I had an abundance of zip ties and not a lot of electrical tape, so that's what I used to tie everything up with. I mean, it cleaned it up and looks a hell of a lot better than that spider web that was there. few other things I gotta do to this bike. I gotta get a new brake lever because the front brake levers broke off. The rear brakes work. I got rid of the brake lights. I don't need brake lights. This thing's gonna be run off-road. I got a line on some wheels and tires that I'm gonna be getting for it. And the body, which is over here, obviously is in very bad shape. I mean, the front, it's cracked everywhere, the paint's peeling off, and you know, I don't think it's too... I might be able to salvage the front piece, but I mean, it's pretty cracked and broken all over the place, and so I don't know. I might try to salvage this one, fix that up, fix up the cracks and stuff with some JB Weld or something cheap. But this back portion, I mean, it's just demolished, which is unfortunate because it's got my battery tray in it. So what I might try to do is, considering my battery tray's right there, that fits in there like that. So that's all that there is. There's no rear fender or anything. So what I might do, just for cheapness, because I mean, I can get a whole new body on eBay for $100, but considering I'm cheap and don't want to spend the money on it for something that's just going to get beat up by the kids anyways, I might just cut the rest of this stuff off over here and on this side, and then just make some fenders that carry out. And then I think I'm going to build a little rack on the back. A new seat is only $18, so that's cheap enough. I'll spend the money on that. I would just make a seat, remake a seat for it, or fix a seat if I had one, but I don't, so I'm just going to buy one. $18 on eBay, free shipping, you can't beat it. What else can I tell you about this? I'll try to get into the wiring a little bit and explain how I did it. I'm going to get the battery back out of here. Alright, so I have some visuals, but as you can see, my wiring job is looks a little messed up, but it's better than what was there, and I didn't have a lot lying around the shop, and I was trying to just get it running. So coming out of this box right here, you got 5 wires coming out of that stator. Now blue and white and red and black, I don't know if you can see those 2 on this side by my thumb, those come out and they go in to your CDI box over here. Those go into your CDI box. Or hold up. Yes. Red and black right there, and white and blue and white, those go into your CDI box. Those are for spark. And then from your CDI box to your coil, to the power side of your coil, if I can get my camera in there, right there, is going to be a black and yellow wire. And that black and yellow wire goes from your CDI box to your coil. And then this green wire is a ground. And that goes to ground. Now for your charging system, coming out of this, you got a yellow and a white wire. Those are for your charging system. Those go into your voltage regulator. You got your white and yellow, those go into your voltage regulator to charge your battery. This red one goes to the positive on your battery, and then the green one just goes to a ground. You could do ground on the battery, or I did the ground on the chassis. It doesn't matter. Over here there's a ground on this green. I got all my grounds all together. And then this black and white wire goes to my ignition switch up here, the start switch. And then there's a red and yellow wire right here from the start switch that goes down and connects to into your coil. So you got a red and yellow. The red and yellow connects to the switch, and then the red and green you connect to the positive side of your coil. Then obviously the green goes to the ground, and then the black, this solid black wire is also a ground. So there's two grounds. You got a solid black, and then you got a green one. Those two are grounds. One of them's for the kill switch. One of them's for the start switch. So red and yellow go to the red and yellow wire off the coil. The black and white goes to the black and white on your CDI, and that will run your start switch. And then the black and yellow wire from your CDI goes straight to your coil, the power side of your coil, and then the green wire from your coil goes to your ground. And for your charging system, you got a solid yellow and a solid white wire, and those go to your voltage regulator, to the yellow and white on your voltage regulator. And don't take these colors to gospel, because it may be different on different bikes. And then the red wire goes to your positive on your battery for charging. As you can see here, that's what I got there. I made it extra long in case I move stuff around. And then the green wire goes to your ground, which I have all my grounds running, and they connect up. And they all connect up in here, and then they go down and they connect directly to the motor. So everything's grounded, and it all runs great. Now the carburetor that was on this 110, I cleaned several times, and it looks good, but it still didn't want to run. It wasn't getting fuel into the motor. It was getting it into the bowl, but it wasn't getting into the motor. I cleaned it. I must have spent an hour cleaning that thing, and nothing. So I had a 150 carburetor that I was told was brand new, but when I tore it apart, it was a little gummed up. It had some water in it, and it was probably stored outside. But I rigged that one up, and I got that over here torn apart. I got one port over here that I can't get cleared. Now there's a tiny little hole in there, and not even a tiny little wire from this wire brush will fit through there. Nothing fits through there. So I gotta clear that port out, and because this is the jet that is for idle. Start up and idle. This jet right here. It won't idle correctly if this jet is not working right. And that is this one right here. This is your main jet. Now the 150 had a really big orifice jet here, so I snagged this little jet off from the other carburetor. It just unscrews with a flathead screwdriver, and then I screwed it into this one. I still got some more cleanup. As you can see, I got this one cleaned up real nice, but it still doesn't want to run right. So I'm going to mess with it some more, and maybe I'll use this one on the 150. Because, I mean, it still looks like a good carburetor. I may try to get some different jets for it. But that one's on the side burner right now. This one's got bigger orifices. So I gotta finish cleaning that up. I got some carb clean coming. My wife's picking it up for me. The choke is different on this, but I think there's a cheap choke kit that you can get at Tractor Supply, and I'll rig that up somehow. Either that, or I'll just have it so I can reach down in there, close it, start it up, and we're done. But that's what's going on with the quad bike. It's not a bad little bike. Pretty easy to work on. Pretty cheap for parts from what I've seen online. You know, here's the rear brakes. Those work. Rear disc brakes. The front has this drum brake on each side. But like I said, the brake lever is broken, so I gotta get a new one. I'm happy that I didn't have to buy a new one of these, because, you know, I'm always happy when I don't have to replace things, because there's less money I have to put into stuff. The line on the wheels and tires I found, they're used wheels and tires, but the guy only wants $40, so I'm gonna pick those up next week. And I will post more builds or more videos as I get further along in this. Hopefully later today I will have that carburetor cleaned out, and I will have this thing running great, and I will get video of that as well. But this is just a quick update on some of the things that I've been working on in the shop. Project Minizuki is put on the side burner at the moment while we're waiting on lining up some parts. We decided we're going to try and find some narrower axles, because the Jeep axles they're 62 inches wide, and our wheelbase is only 63 inches. Or 60 or 63 inches is our wheelbase. And we're still working on getting a motor lined up for that. Travis found a motorcycle scavenge yard that he's going to try and get the motor for. Right here is custom go-kart I got. I'm waiting on I got to get a new clutch, and I got to finish the seat. That thing's pretty fast. Me and my cousin and my brother-in-law, we all got go-karts, and we race them, and we'll videotape that. But that's all I got for right now, so talk to you later.